Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda if you are new here. If you're not new, welcome back. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video. This is going to be my 5 nights of dinner ideas for the WW Blue Plan. I'm going to be showing you 5 of the meals that I made last week, and I will also be leaving all of the recipes and instructions down in the description box. You should click a little arrow right here and that will bring you to the description box, and everything will be listed there for you to write down or screenshot so that you can recreate these recipes. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure to give it a thumbs up. That helps me out so much and lets me know that you guys really like these 5 nights of dinner ideas and that you enjoy this video. Make sure you subscribe and leave me a comment down below. Let me know which recipe looks best to you and what recipes you would like to see in the future. And let's just jump right into the first dinner. Alright, for the first dinner, it's going to be so easy. We're going to be making a chicken meatball risotto. So I'm going to be using all natural lean ground chicken. For the risotto, I am just using the ALEXIA cauliflower risotto. This is nice and low in points because it's made with cauliflower. This is the Parmesan and sea salt. And then a frozen bag of sweet peas. You can do sweet peas or mushrooms, whichever you prefer, but we really like peas in our risotto. You'll need 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of white flour. This just helps combine the meatball so it doesn't fall apart. And then we have some seasonings. I have garlic powder, salt, pepper, and dried parsley for seasonings to flavor the meatballs. I'm going to crack 1 egg, add your flour and your seasonings. Then just mix that all together, and then we're going to form our meatballs. Also going to go ahead and add some panko breadcrumbs, just plain panko breadcrumbs. This is optional, you don't have to, but I do like the crunch and I feel like it'll help combine this. So I'm going to do 2 tablespoons actually. So you could do an extra tablespoon of flour, or you could do the 2 tablespoons of panko. I'm a big fan of just kind of making up recipes and having to tweak them as you go. So most of the time I just look at the food and I can tell what it needs. So I added the panko and then I'm just mixing this all up. It's ready. We're gonna go ahead and form the meatballs, and then we're gonna cook the meatballs first a little bit, add the peas, and then add the risotto and let it all cook together and let those flavors kind of combine. Now that the pan is pretty hot, I did spray it with olive oil spray. I'm going to go ahead and cook the meatballs on each side and start browning them. There we go. There's 17 meatballs, and I'm just going to let these go ahead and cook on each side, and I will flip them halfway through. Now that the meatballs are pretty much done, we're going to go ahead and add the 1 cup of peas. I'm only going to be doing about 1 cup. I think that's good. And then go ahead and add just a splash of water, probably like 2 tablespoons worth of water, just so it kind of starts steaming these peas together. And then next, add your whole thing of risotto. We're going to cook it all. And there's like little chunks of, this is like the cream and the Parmesan blocks. That's going to eventually cook down and get nice and thick, make a nice sauce. I'm going to put it on medium heat and just kind of let it start cooking down. I decided I'm going to add 1 ounce of Parmesan cheese, so that's what I have here. I am using the Kraft finely shredded Parmesan. It's really, really good. So I'm going to go ahead and put it on top of this so that it like melts down. I just feel like that is what it needs on top. Oh my gosh, yes. And 1 ounce is 4 points, but this is gonna make probably like 5 servings. So it really won't add that many points, probably 1 point, honestly, if I can get this to be 5 servings. So, oh, that looks delicious, you guys. There we go. Definitely good decision on the cheese. Alright you guys, this is the meal completed. You get about 4 meatballs and it makes 5 servings. That's how many servings I made. So this is 1 serving, this is what it looks like. I pretty much did like 1/5 of the casserole and I just split it up that way. But it looks so good. And you could pair this with a salad or whatever you prefer, a veggie, some bread, that would be really good, like garlic bread. But I am just going to have this for dinner. And then here is the leftovers it makes. Alright you guys, for meal number 2, we're going to be making a beef stroganoff. That is like a comfort food for me because my mom used to make that all the time as a kid. So I'm going to show you a more healthier, lower point, lower calorie alternative to beef stroganoff. I'm just going to be using extra wide egg noodles. I don't really think they have like a alternative chickpea egg noodle. I feel like you just need to use the points on a really good egg noodle because I feel like that's just, I don't know, important. I'm going to be using 96.4 lean ground beef. That'll keep the points nice and low, so definitely try to find that. An onion, some mushrooms. We have fat-free cream of mushroom soup. And then for seasonings, I have some red pepper chili flakes. This is totally optional. I just like a little spice in mine. If you do not like spice, please eliminate that because it is a little bit hot. You'll need some garlic powder and salt and pepper. So that is everything you will need. Let's just get started with the recipe. We're gonna just boil our noodles, start to cook our ground beef and our onion and our mushrooms. Alright guys, I have 1 cup of white diced onions. I'm going to go ahead and put that into the pan. And then I like to add my seasonings now. So they kind of saute with the onions and kind of cook a little bit with the onions. So I'm adding some sea salt, some pepper. And I like a lot of pepper in beef stroganoff. So I'm going a little heavy on the pepper. And then some garlic powder. And then, as I mentioned, I like spice to mine, so I'm just going to add a pinch of red pepper chili flakes. Just a little bit. This is only going to be a small meal for me and my husband for the next 2 days, but you definitely could double this recipe for sure if you have a larger family to feed. Alright you guys, the onions are nice and soft, so I'm just going to make a little bit of room for the ground beef in the center, and I'm just going to plop that in there. And then we're going to let that beef cook down with the onions and seasonings until it's pretty much cooked all the way. It will continue to cook though as we simmer the sauce and the noodles with this. So go ahead and just let that take its time and cook through. Now that the beef is pretty much cooked, I'm going to add my washed mushrooms. They're kind of large. I didn't realize how big they were, so I'm going to kind of like break them apart as I throw them in here, just because I want them a little bit more bite-sized. Right now we're going to just let those mushrooms kind of cook down and wilt. With the beef and the steam, they will wilt. You don't really need to add any liquid or anything. So just give it a nice toss and let that cook for another 5 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and add 7 ounces of the egg noodles. I'm not going to cook all of them. I'm going to save some because, again, like I mentioned, it's just for me and my husband for 2 days. So I decided to do like half of the bag, which is 7 ounces. Oop. Go ahead and let your egg noodles cook. Just read the instructions on the back of the bag for the cooking time. Alright guys, I'm going to go ahead and add the noodles. I did drain them and I cooked them for about 7 minutes. So I'm going to add that to the beef and mushrooms. And then next I'm going to add the whole can of cream of mushroom soup. We're going to add that in there. And then we're going to add the 1/4 of the light sour cream. Now we're going to give that a good mix together and just let this kind of cook for, it doesn't need much time since everything's already cooked, for another 5 to 8 minutes on low heat, just to kind of get it hot and simmering together, those flavors, and then it'll be done. Alright, now that it's done, I'm going to go ahead and measure out the serving size that I want. I'm thinking of doing 1 1/3 cup for a serving. So here's 1 cup. And then I'm thinking of doing a little 1/3 cup. There we go. Yeah, that looks perfect. Some black pepper. And then this is optional, but I like to add a little bit of dried parsley to the top. So I'm just going to add just a little bit. There we go. This is the finished product. Look how delicious this looks. This is such ultimate comfort food for me. Alright guys, here is the leftovers. It made 5 servings and 1 1/3 cup is a serving. So we have quite a bit of leftovers, but I have a feeling we're gonna eat a lot of this. We might go back for seconds because it's so good. I did taste it and it's amazing. So this is my comfort beef stroganoff recipe. So for dinner number 3, this is like already prepared and done, but I wanted to show you guys this. So we grilled up a lot of chicken and then we just microwaved one of these minute rice cups, and me and Joey are gonna split that. And then we boiled these Brussels sprouts, and then the key to this whole dinner is this yum yum sauce. 1 tablespoon is all you need, and 1 tablespoon is 3 smart points. So you just layer the bowl with rice, Brussels sprouts, and chicken, and then you add 1 tablespoon of the yum yum sauce, and it is so good and satisfying. So I will show you guys that dinner once it's all plated into the bowl. Alright, here is the dinner completed. Look how good it looks. You only need a tablespoon. That's what this is right here, a whole tablespoon, and it's plenty. It's so good. This is by far one of my favorite dinners. And there's Joey's, my husband's. Alright guys, for this dinner, this is going to be a spaghetti squash taco bake. So I'm going to be using 93.7 ground turkey. I have a spaghetti squash here. I have onion, garlic, green onions, cilantro, and then for seasonings we're doing taco seasoning, and then some chili powder and black pepper. And then we have black beans, salsa, and tomato paste, and then some reduced fat Mexican style cheese. So that is everything you need for this recipe. We're gonna go ahead and cut this in half and microwave it. That's the way I cook it. It's super fast, takes 10 minutes. And then we'll dice up onions, garlic, green onions, and some cilantro, and I will show you what to do next. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to each to kind of get it softened, and it helps steam it up. And then I add a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're just gonna pop it into the microwave for 10 minutes. Next, we're going to cut up our onions in dice-sized pieces, and we're going to cut up 3 cloves of garlic. I'm gonna cut up my green onion, and we're going to save the green onion for the top. I really like fresh green onion on top of my taco bake, so I'm gonna add 2 stalks of green onion to the top once it's all done. And then I'm gonna chop up some cilantro. I like a lot of cilantro. It's so good. Just give that a rough chop. I'm gonna spray some coconut oil spray. And then I'm just going to add my onions and garlic to the pan. Our squash is beeping at us. Okay, so I'm just gonna let the onions and garlic saute down and get soft, and then we're gonna add our ground turkey. Next, add your black pepper and chili powder and your whole taco seasoning mix. Next, add your 1 tablespoon of tomato paste, 1/3 cup salsa, and your 1 can of black beans. Just cook down until it's pretty much all the way cooked. And then we're going to assort it into a casserole dish and bake it. Next, I'm going to get my spaghetti squash out. It's all done. See how easy that was? 10 minutes in the microwave is all it needs. There we go, it is all shredded. Now add it into your meat mixture. Next, add half of your bunch of cilantro directly into the mixture, and then save the other half for the top once it's cooked. Just mix that cilantro in here. I sprayed my little dish, and then I'm gonna add all of the mixture into the dish. Next, we're going to add our cheese. I have 75 grams of the Mexican reduced fat cheese we're gonna add on top. All right, now we're gonna go ahead and bake it for a good 15 minutes. And then once it's done, we're gonna add green onion, cilantro, and a few other little toppings on the top once it's done baking. So go ahead and pop this in the oven at 400 for 15 minutes. All right, guys, it's done. I'm gonna add some toppings. I'm gonna add a few tomatoes, because I love tomatoes. Alright guys, here is the taco spaghetti squash bake with some avocado and tomatoes on top. This is what the casserole looks like, and like it's very, very thick, but it makes 6 servings. That's what I did. Alright guys, for the next recipe, we are going to be making a egg roll in a bowl. So you will need some cabbage, a white onion, some carrots, green onions, and then we have garlic powder, powdered ginger, black pepper, a little tiny bit of sea salt is in there, soy sauce, red pepper chili flakes, and then for the beef, I am using 96.4 lean beef. You can do chicken or turkey, but I actually really like the beef with this recipe, so I'm using that. And that is everything you need. It's actually a very, very simple, easy recipe. You can serve it just like this, or you can serve it with rice, or quinoa would be really good. But I'm just showing you this recipe, the egg roll in the bowl with no side. So we are going to get started with chopping up our vegetables. All right, for the cabbage, I'm only doing half of the cabbage. I already kind of started. So I'm saving the other half right here. I'm saving that half. So for this recipe, you want to just cut the cabbage long ways as thin as possible, and then you're going to cut it once and half the opposite way. And then if you have a food processor, go ahead and get that out, and we're going to pulse our carrots. I like to just cut them up into chunks. It makes it a lot easier, and my food processor doesn't have to work as hard. And I only did 2 thin carrots. They weren't too large. There we go. Next, we're going to dice up our onion. I'm doing 1 whole onion because I love onion so much. So I'm going to do a whole small onion. I left my onions long. I didn't dice them. I want them into like long pieces, like slivers that match the cabbage. And then we're going to do our green onions. And I'm gonna save some of the green onions, so we'll do half in the dish and save half for the top. All right, we're gonna put our pan on and spray it with coconut oil spray. All right, go ahead and add your onions. Kind of break them apart. Make sure there's no chunks. I like to go ahead and add my seasonings in right away and let them cook through with the onions. So I'm going to go ahead and add my half of a teaspoon of ginger powder, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of red pepper chili flakes, and then just a little bit of the salt and pepper. Just give that a nice mix with the onions and let that cook through, and let those onions kind of wilt down. Next, add your lean beef. We're just going to let that break apart and cook down, and then once the meat is brown, we'll add the remainder of the vegetables. All right, now add your carrots. Go ahead and add your cabbage, some of your green onions as well, but again, save some for the top. And then this cabbage will cook down. Let the steam kind of cook it down, and it takes a little while, so give it a good like 10 minutes on medium high, and it will wilt down. So we're just going to let it kind of sit here and do its thing, and you kind of want to check it and turn it a few times throughout the cooking process. All right, next we're going to add 2 tablespoons of our soy sauce. Alright guys, I added some yum yum sauce, just a little bit of yum yum sauce, half of a tablespoon, and some green onions. You also could add a runny egg on this. I feel like it would be so good. Alright guys, and that is it for this video. That is all of the delicious dinners that I made for the WW plan. I hope you guys enjoyed this and try out these recipes, and that this just gave you some motivation and some food inspiration if you're feeling stuck and bored with your food ideas. I hope this video helped. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. I'm getting tired of sitting by myself.